Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, that's loud and clear. So, in my life, I've always been first. In my classrooms, I've been a first bencher, not by choice, but by compulsion of height, being the shortest. I've always been first in my PT classes in the queue because I was one of the shortest in my class, and that made me reach great heights. That's when I decided that I want to climb Mount Everest one day. When in my 4th grade, I read a chapter about Bhagyashree Sawant, her story that was completely narrated with the difficulties that she faced. They didn't have that technical gear in those generations, and I wanted to do it. That is something that I decided. So I decided to climb Mount Everest in my childhood, and I forgot about it. When I was 17 years old, I realized that mountains can be climbed. I realized that it was not a fiction, but it's a real life story. That's when I took a step in my 12th grade that no, I won't climb Mount Everest at any cost. There were a lot of rejections that I faced from my friends, from my families, that it's a risky sport, you cannot go for it. Oh my God, how are you even going to be there? You're so short. In fact, some of the fellow climbers told me that you're too tiny to climb the mountain. But that did not restrict me, because according to me, it's myself, it's my belief, and I will do it, irrespective of how tall or how short I am. And in sensitizing me to these thoughts, there were 3 women who played very important role. First one being my grandma. Climbing Everest is definitely a difficult part, but before that, gathering funds for it is even more difficult because each climb takes you around 30 to 35 lakh Indian rupees on an average. You need to pay for the permit, for your Sherpas, for your logistics, for your gear, and you cannot compromise on any of this because this is really very important. So it was my grandma who sold off her gold jewelries to send me to the mountain when my mom and my grandma, in the second picture is my mom, when they decided that instead of saving it for my marriage, they would like to use it for my passion. And because of these 2 ladies, I was able to pursue my dreams. In the third picture, my degree college vice principal, when I went to Everest for the first time, I did not submit, I came back, but I wanted to give a second try. And that's when my degree college vice principal motivated me to make sure that I follow my dream to whatever extent it is. I was a computer science student. The same typical story where you get good marks in 10th and then you have to choose science. That's when I took computer science, but very little did I know that I actually hated physics. Sorry for the physics hatred. But so that's something that I hated and I did not want to pursue computer science. And my 12th education, I did it in computer science, which always clashed with my Everest journey. So obviously the choice was obvious. I skipped my board exams and I went to climb the mountains. And when I did that, it changed my life completely. I became more independent in taking my life decisions. After coming back from my first attempt, I switched my profession from my area of expertise from computer science towards psychology because that's where I developed more interest towards life, towards humanities, to study human brain and human behaviors. So it was my degree college vice principal who nurtured me since then. Sharing some moments on Everest, the first time when I went, I started my journey a little late because I could not arrange the funds on time. Because of that, I had to really go for a faster climb, and that's one wrong thing that you should avoid in mountains. You should never climb fast, especially at higher altitude, because as you go higher, you are entering into the thin air, there is a pressure that's building on your brain, and you need to make sure that your body gets acclimatized. You need to go up, come down, go up, come down, go up more higher, and come down. Only when you do this, you can acclimatize to the weather and you can be very healthy as a climber. So when I climbed very fast, my body was not acclimatized to the altitude, my oxygen count dropped drastically. So in the first image, as you can see, I was very low on oxygen. I had lost my memory completely. Somebody tried to question me to see whether I'm suffering with high altitude sickness. The extreme version of high altitude sickness can lead to death. So when I was suffering from high altitude sickness, they questioned me my name. All what I said was, I was blabbering. Because that's the first part that gets affected, your speech. The second thing, they made me walk. And I was walking like a drunkard. Because the second part that gets affected is your balance. So these were the symptoms that they faced, and I was immediately put on oxygen by my Sherpa. The next picture, as you can see, was when I'm still trying to recover and be a completely fine human. Then I learned a lot of life skills on the mountain, the survival techniques where you don't get distillery water bottles or you don't get purified water bottles, but we were just drinking water that has melted from the snow and running down the stream. That is how we survived. And very less being conscious about how I'm going to look, because when you go on the mountain and you come back, people feel that it's in snow, you're not going to get tanned, but you get burned completely. As you can see the last picture, there's just a little layer of burn mark, but when I came back from the entire expedition, I was like a tandoori chicken. I couldn't even wash my face with water because it used to burn. It took me a month to recover from that. I did not summit the mountain in the first attempt because I climbed very fast, I got altitude sickness, I had to descend back. But there's nothing that I lost. Even if I missed the summit, there are a lot of experiences that I learned. In the first image as you can see, it is a Kumbu ice fall. It is 24/7 moving glacier. It's also known as popcorn because those big ice blocks that you can see that they always keep falling. Then I could cross crevices and be alive because crevices, once you fall inside, it's very difficult for you to make your way out back. So these are the experiences that I was really thrilled about and I was not at all scared about it. Other thing about heights is when I wanted to get sensitized to this concept of being short and not restricting myself because of my height, main reason was my mom. She always, when I was 14 years old, she always registered me for athletic races for a higher age group, especially the opens category. Now, for 800-meter runs, if I'm running with the really tall girls from the open category, I used to run like a duck, and she used to enjoy to the core. She used to laugh, telling that, oh, look at the duck running. Little did I know that it was just her motive was just to make me be shameless about things. So that whatever anybody tries to restrict me or put me down anytime, I would always succeed. I would just say that I don't care about it, this is what I'm going to do, and that is what I'm going to do. Coming back, as I said, there's nothing that I failed to learn on the mountain. I met wonderful people. I met the Sherpas. And if you see most of the Sherpas, they're not of great height, they're of average height. And that motivated me even more. The second lady in the picture, as you can see, she is Pasang. When I climbed from the Chinese side, I could not eat the food there because Tibet, now invaded by China, I didn't have freedom of choice to select the food that I wanted to eat in 2011. So whatever the meal that they had set up for all of us, generally had pork in it, and I denied to eat. When this lady saw that I'm not been eating anything, she started getting me dal rice every day. And these are the experiences that I can never forget about because these are the people who are going to help you nurture your entire life. And then I met one of the helicopter rescue pilot who has done amazing rescue operations in Nepal. And last but not the least, my first expedition Sherpa, whom I called Ao Papa. Ao Papa means fatherly uncle. Because the entire journey on my Everest trip, when I felt sick, when I had altitude sickness, he was the only one who cried that Maro Chori means my daughter is not well. We were known as father and daughter because he couldn't speak Hindi or he couldn't speak English. How do we communicate? I landed up speaking with Sherpas who could speak Hindi and Nepali, and I learned Nepali just for him, and now I know at least 60% of Nepali for that reason. So there's nothing that I lost. Every story has a climax, so did I. After my second attempt, when I was playing rugby, I got badly tackled and I had a very nice fall. Right on my right knee, I had a complete ACL and ligament tear. I knew that as an athlete, my career is coming to an end because I cannot run the same way as I used to earlier. I cannot sprint the same way as I used to earlier. I may not be able to do long distance running like I used to do earlier. But that did not stop me. Yes, I was slightly upset about it because knowing that it's going to have a major change on my entire sports career. When I did that, there's just one eureka moment that I had that what's the point of cribbing about it? It's not going to heal my leg. There's no point crying about it. I started celebrating my injury. It was my first surgery. Before the operation theatre, when the doctors came to see me, they were surprised to see me so surprised and excited about my surgery. I was with an attitude that, yay, it's my first surgery, I'm going to cut a cake. And I actually did that. The nurses helped me smuggle cake inside the hospital because cake outside food was not allowed. And so the same with my surgeons. And they were surprised that how can you be so happy about it? The only thing what I could tell them is there is no point me crying about it because it's not going to help me at all. Instead, let me at least enjoy whatever I'm living with. And it was amazing. new challenges because I was prepared that for the first 3 months I will not be able to walk well. I cannot fold my right leg completely. Before the surgery, I did a nice prehab where even on my left leg I could survive. I could walk on one leg, I could do single leg squats. Those are the things that made me even more stronger. And the best part is, 2 years after the surgery, it had been 2 years, I came to Bangalore for my MSc in psychology, and I still couldn't run. I still couldn't run, and that was very distressing me. I used to try to run, but right knee, it was highly unstable. I used to put a step forward, it used to rotate, and I could get the entire pain. So I spoke to my doctors, and I decided, okay, the doctor told me that I'm not fit enough to run. He never told me that I'm not fit enough to cycle. That's when I decided to cycle the entire country and prove that injuries are not a full stop. They are not going to stop us. Similarly, a lot of times we have a lot of breakdowns and we always think that's the end of the world. No, it's a new beginning. If this door shuts, we need to look for the next door that opens for us. There may not be a door, but there may at least be a window which would help you go to the outside world. So step out of the box. When I decided to cycle all across the country, one of the inspiration was my injury. So polio being a disease that cripples people for their entire life, I wanted to do it for this cause. India is now a polio-free nation, but even if there is one child who's having polio in the entire world, every child is at risk. So it was very important to create the preventive awareness by visiting to different places, by going to different schools, by going to different communities. That's what I decided with a fellow colleague of mine. We visited government schools, we visited rural villages. We told them the importance of polio vaccination because even now, a lot of places in rural India have this myth, not even rural India, but even in cities, they have this myth that if you give polio vaccination to the child, that's when the child is going to suffer with polio. And that makes them avoid them. Also, there are a lot of religious beliefs that you should not be doing this. So when we started doing this awareness, it was very easy for us to interact with the children because polio in itself is a disease a virus that affects children, especially in their developmental age. So the grassroots level awareness was important. So when me and my colleague, we went on bicycles visiting the schools, it was very easy for us to interact with the children. Because for them, we were like aliens. They look at us wearing the helmet, wearing the cycle gear. At certain schools, you can imagine, the teachers have asked us, when we had kept a water bottle on the cycle, if it's a petrol tank. So these were the awareness, like to these extents we've gone to places. And when we speak to them in that attire, they're really very inspired and motivated to listen to you. And that exactly sports was used as a tool to make this entire awareness. While doing this awareness, we ended up covering 400 government schools, interacting with children. Some schools, language was a barrier, but that never stopped us. What we started doing is, because it was through one of the Rotaractor community that we went through, we coordinated with all the nearby Rotaractors. We got an entire script that we wanted to present, translated. And we literally used to go and read that script, and there used to be somebody who could help us mediate with our conversations. It was a wonderful experience cycling across the country with a broken leg, which I was not fit enough to run with. I could eat whatever I want to. There were different cuisines, different cultures, different roads, different temperatures, so many challenges. I pushed beyond my limits. There are headwinds that are hitting us. If I'm trying to cycle through the wind, it's pushing me back. I had to pedal harder. And to my surprise and to my doctor's surprise, my knee actually became very strong. And that's something again kept me moving, and now I can run, finally. After the entire cycle expedition, I'm fit enough to run. And the doctors had an interesting invention where if you cycle for a long time, as long as you have the endurance, it's not going to bother you much. Doing the preventive awarenesses in the school was another aspect that opened up my life, because personally, I realized that we were giving them hopes, that it's not just the education system, but they can also pursue this sports or their field or their passion. Because most of these children were going to the government schools because they were getting one-time meal. The teachers literally told us that there are people sending their children to school only for the meal, and even in vacations they want the school to run so that their child can at least have one-time proper meal. This was the perspective of all the underdeveloped areas, or let's say not underdeveloped but the deprived areas. So we still have a lot of work to be done. And this was the best part because that gave them hope to pursue something amazing. By end of this journey, we realized we completed 400 schools, we covered 18 states, 5 union territories, 20,000 kilometers, breaking an Australian record of cycling longest journey in a single country by 500 kilometers, and was awarded with the Guinness World Record and India Book of Record for the same. This still does not stop us, me or even you, because everybody of us, each one of us has a dream. We have a dream, we have a passion. Don't have that fear of failure, because we've always learned that opposite of success is failure. But no, failure is a part of success. Whenever you get stopped on one path, remember there are different paths that are open. It's just that you who need to discover it. So coming to my final thought of the day, failure is fun because it makes you stronger, it makes you resilient, it makes you bold, and the best part being you have absolutely nothing to lose. You already failed, so how does it matter? At least you try. You will not regret your life that I wish I could have tried that time. A lot of times we even fear asking a question in classroom. Why? What if people laugh at me? How does it matter? You may sound fool for that particular minute, but you will not be fool for your life because you have acquired that knowledge. So it's okay to be shameless sometimes, because that is how you're going to grow. So try anything and everything you want to do in your life, because fear is temporary and regret is forever. Thank you.